Hey guys, tonight we're diving into one of the most common and surprisingly tricky topics in English: how to talk about your daily routine. Picture this: your alarm goes off, way too early. It blares like some possessed robot from the 80s. You fumble around, knocking over your phone, maybe hitting snooze a broken bar twice or 5 times. Who's counting? You open one eye, then the other, and realize the day has officially begun even if your brain hasn't. The blanket feels like heaven, the room feels like a freezer, and you already know you're going to be late again. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And hey, let me know where you're listening from and what time it is there. Seriously, it's always fun seeing how far this little podcast travels. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You trudge through the first few minutes of the day like a zombie with a questionable hairstyle. The English phrases you'll want to use here are often basic but deceptively rich in detail. You can say, "I wake up at 6 a.m." but if you want to sound more natural, go for, "I usually hit snooze once or twice before dragging myself out of bed around 6. Notice the difference? The second version sounds alive. It sounds like someone who knows what it's like to be a human. You might also hear, "I'm not a morning person." I wake up feeling like a truck ran me over. I set 5 alarms just to make sure I wake up on time. These are gold when you're telling your daily routine like a story. No one wants to hear "I wake, I Washington, I eat." You're not a medieval monk writing in code. You're a person. Use that. Now, fun fact: did you know that in ancient Rome, people didn't have alarms? They relied on servants or public criers to wake them up. Imagine trusting some guy on the street to yell you awake. Historians still argue whether this method was actually effective or just a polite way to sleep through responsibilities. And speaking of unreliable wake-up methods, here's something truly wild. In pre-industrial England, they had a job called the knocker-upper. It was literally someone whose job was to walk around with a stick and tap on your window to wake you up. If you're wondering whether people actually got up or just threw shoes at a broken bar, well, that's still debated. You pull the covers off, groaning, and maybe glance at the ceiling for a full existential check-in. It's too early for coffee, too late to sleep more. Welcome to adulthood. Now, when you're describing this moment in English, don't just say "I wake up." Get comfortable with phrases like, "I usually wake up feeling groggy." "I toss and turn for a bit before I finally get up." "I wake up to the sound of my cat meowing like it pays rent." You're allowed to add personality. You're supposed to. Also, pay attention to tense. When you describe your routine, the present simple tense is king. I wake up, I get out of bed, I check my phone. But if you're telling a story about a specific day, use past simple. Yesterday, I overslept and panicked like it was finals week. Let's practice describing one of the most cursed parts of the morning, the alarm. You could say, "My alarm goes off at 6:30. I set multiple alarms because I never wake up to the first one. I keep my alarm across the room so I have to get out of bed to turn it off." That last one, genius-level self-sabotage. It's small phrases like these that make you sound fluent and not just accurate, but expressive. Now here's something few learners think about. What do you do immediately after waking up? Not the full bathroom routine, just the first 10 minutes. That window is full of real, everyday English. Try, I scroll through my notifications before even getting out of bed. I lie there for a few minutes and mentally prepare myself to exist. I stretch a little, yawn a lot, and try not to cry. You can even throw in cultural observations. In Japan, many people try to get sunlight first thing in the morning as something called asai-ake, or morning sun. Western wellness trends are catching on too, like those who throw open the curtains to reset their circadian rhythm. Science or placebo? Historians still argue. And that first sound you hear? If it's not an alarm, maybe it's birds, traffic, a neighbor's terrible playlist. You could say, I wake up to the sound of honking cars outside. The birds start chirping like they're hosting a morning talk show. And then, finally, the dreaded moment. You get up. That's different from wake up. One means your eyes open, the other means you accept your fate. English learners often confuse these. I wake up at 6:30 but I don't get up until 7. I roll out of bed and head straight for the kitchen. I sit on the edge of the bed for a while, contemplating life. And by the way, that phrasey contemplating life is code for regretting all decisions that led to this early morning. We've all been there. So, by now you've opened your eyes, possibly cursed the universe, and maybe even stood up. You're already halfway to fluency because if you can describe this moment in rich, expressive English, you're not just learning phrases, you're learning to sound real. And that's the difference between English learners and English speakers. One memorizes lines, the other tells stories. Now that you've officially escaped the clutches of your bed and accepted the cruel reality that today is, in fact, happening, let's head to the bathroom, because no routine story is complete without soap, water, and that awkward moment where you forget whether you already brushed your teeth. You shuffle to the sink, squinting at the mirror, wondering how your hair managed to defy physics overnight. You look like a cross between a rock star and a hedgehog. Congratulations. Let's talk English vocabulary for the bathroom routine. You don't want to say I clean my teeth, that sounds like you're polishing them with a rag. Instead, go for I brush my teeth, I wash my face, I splash cold water on my face to wake up. All natural, all native. Now, if you're a hygiene overachiever and we respect that, you might say, I floss after brushing, I rinse with mouthwash, I shave every morning. And for the skincare folks, I apply moisturizer, I use sunscreen, even if I'm just staying indoors. Yes, some of us live that SPF life. Cleopatra, by the way, used crocodile dung and donkey milk in her skincare. Historians still argue whether that actually helped or just gave her a very unfortunate smell. Let's not try that one at home. Back to your daily routine. You stand in front of the mirror, bleary-eyed, holding a toothbrush like it's a magic wand that might cancel the day. In English, exaggeration is your friend. You don't just brush your teeth, you scrub away the sins of late-night snacks. Here are more playful, expressive phrases. I stare blankly at myself while brushing. I zone out and forget if I've already brushed the bottom row. I accidentally use hair gel instead of toothpaste. Again, true story. In a 2021 survey, 12% of people admitted to brushing with something other than toothpaste at least once. We're not judging. Life happens before coffee. Let's talk about the shower, or bath, or, let's be honest, the desperate splash and go when you're late. You'll hear, I take a shower every morning. I jump in the shower for a quick rinse. I sing in the shower like I'm on The Voice. Feel free to personalize your story. It's not I shower, it's I stand under hot water for 5 minutes trying to feel something. Now, shower vocabulary. I shampoo my hair. I condition it too, when I remember. I scrub with body Washington. I towel off and try not to slip on the wet floor. All real, all relevant. And if you want to sound more fluent, throw in a fun detail like, I love the smell of eucalyptus shower gel. I end my shower with cold water for that Scandinavian shock therapy vibe. And speaking of Scandinavia, did you know that in Finland, traditional morning routines might involve a sauna? Yep. Folks there sit in 88 degrees C heat first thing in the morning. Historians still argue whether that counts as a bath or a spiritual experience. Once you're out of the shower, it's deodorant time. Don't skip this. Both in life and in English. It's surprisingly cultural. In some countries, daily deodorant use is a must. In others, not so much. So when someone says I freshen up after my shower, it might include, I put on deodorant, I spritz on cologne or perfume, I comb my hair and look almost human. And by the way, the phrase freshen up is your best friend. It's classy. It covers everything. Use it at work, at parties, even when you're secretly fixing that one armpit you forgot. One thing English learners often miss is sequencing. You're not just listing things randomly, you're telling a mini story. Try, first, I brush my teeth, then I wash my face. After that, I take a quick shower and get dressed. Notice the flow, first, then, after that. This rhythm makes your routine easier to follow and more natural to say. Here's a fringe tidbit. In the 1800s, many Europeans believed that bathing too often would make you sick. Some folks bathed once a year. And no, that's not a typo, royalty included. Historians still argue whether perfume was invented to attract or to survive. So you're clean now, or at least presentable. Maybe your skin is glowing, maybe your socks don't match. Doesn't matter, you're ready to face the world or at least the kitchen. Let's recap with some short, native phrases you might use. I splash cold water on my face to wake up. I brush my teeth while scrolling through my phone. I take a 5-minute shower and forget to condition. I apply deodorant, pat down my hair, and pretend I've got it together. In every case, your goal is not to sound perfect, your goal is to sound real. Even if your reality includes falling asleep on the toilet seat or brushing your teeth with hand soap. Okay. Maybe don't include that in a job interview. From here, we move toward a new part of your morning story, the quest for food. But before you grab that toast or skip it entirely in favor of chaos, remember your routine is a reflection of your world. Even the way you say I brushed my teeth and took a shower tells people something about your rhythm, your habits, your priorities. In English, those little moments, they count. You shuffle out of the bathroom, feeling slightly more human, hair wet, face fresh, and that clean shirt, confidence radiating from your pores. It's breakfast time, or is it? Depending on where you live, breakfast is either a full sit-down event with 5 different food groups or a granola bar you eat while checking emails with one eye open. Let's tackle the vocabulary and storytelling tools you'll need to talk about this crucial part of your day. Whether you're a cereal loyalist or someone who thinks coffee is breakfast, there's a way to express that in English that doesn't sound like you copied it from a textbook. Now, the basics. I usually have breakfast around 7 a.m. I skip breakfast most days. I'm not really hungry in the morning. All valid, all true for someone. But let's take it further. Try. I stumble into the kitchen and grab whatever's within reach, usually toast or yesterday's leftovers. I make a smoothie because chewing feels like too much work. I eat cereal straight from the box like a raccoon in pajamas. All of these paint a picture. That's the magic of storytelling, even in something as everyday as breakfast. Now for a mainstream historical fact. The concept of breakfast as we know it today didn't really become popular until the Industrial Revolution. Before then, most people ate 2 meals a day. Historians still argue whether the rise of breakfast cereals was about nutritional broken bar or brilliant marketing by companies like Kellogg's. Spoiler, it was probably marketing. And speaking of Kellogg, did you know John Harvey Kellogg originally promoted cornflakes as part of a bland, pure lifestyle designed to suppress certain urges? Fringe, but true. People thought spicy or flavorful food would lead to moral decay. Honestly, pass the hot sauce. Back to your routine. Maybe you're someone who does a full breakfast spread. I make eggs, toast, and coffee every morning. I fry up bacon and brew a fresh pot of coffee. I squeeze orange juice and eat a croissant like I live in a movie. Or maybe, like many people, I eat whatever I find while scrolling TikTok. I forget to eat until my stomach growls during a Zoom call. Totally valid, totally human. Now, English learners often ask, should I say eat breakfast or have breakfast? Both are correct, but have breakfast is more natural in everyday speech. Example, Ayo, I have a quick breakfast before leaving for work. Ayo, I take breakfast. Sounds like you're seizing it by force. You can also describe your mood. I'm always grumpy before breakfast. I can't function until I've had my coffee. I try to eat healthy in the morning, but that donut keeps calling my name. Coffee, by the way, is practically its own category. If you want to sound fluent, learn how to describe your coffee ritual. I brew a fresh cup of black coffee. I stop by the cafe copyright near my house for a latte. I pour instant coffee and pretend it's artisanal. Bonus phrase, I need my caffeine fix. That means you can't fully wake up until coffee has entered your bloodstream and done its holy work. Now, let's not forget cultures where breakfast is the main meal of the day. In Vietnam, people might eat phirb tilde inverted exclamation mark nhma tilde negation in the morning. In Turkey, a traditional breakfast includes cheese, olives, tomatoes, and bread. In America, waffles drowned in syrup. Historians still argue whether that counts as a balanced meal or a dessert with PR. So how do you describe your breakfast? You might say, I cook oatmeal with bananas and cinnamon. I usually grab a bagel on my way out. I skip breakfast and regret it by 10 a.m. Or, if you're part of the intermittent fasting crowd, I don't eat until noon, even though I think about pancakes the entire time. Notice how even the negative I don't eat breakfast can still be part of your daily routine story. Let's throw in some expressions to add flavor. A breakfast is the calm before the storm. I eat like a king in the morning and like a squirrel the rest of the day. I stare at my cereal thinking about life choices. And here's a quirky language note. In English, breakfast literally means breaking the fast being your night of sleep. This idea of fasting goes back centuries. Ancient monks, for example, broke their overnight fasts with simple bread and ale. Yes, ale. Historians still argue whether that counted as a responsible meal or just medieval multitasking. By the time you finish breakfast or successfully dodge into, you've completed a big chunk of your routine. And remember, when you talk about food in English, you're not just listing items. You're showing people your habits, your taste, your lifestyle. It's the difference between, I had eggs and I made scrambled eggs with chili flakes and toast, standing barefoot by the window. The second version gives the listener an image, a vibe, maybe even the smell of toast. That's powerful English. So whether you're a breakfast lover, a reluctant grazer, or someone who thinks a donut is a valid food group, own it and describe it like it matters, because it does. So you've eaten, or skipped eating, or eaten emotionally while standing at the counter trying not to check your phone again. Either way, breakfast is done. Now comes the moment when your routine starts getting judged by your wardrobe. It's time to get dressed. Now, describing this part in English seems simple at first, just a matter of verbs like put on, get dressed, or change. But trust me, there's way more nuance here, and your clothes tell a story even before you open your mouth. You might start with, I get dressed after breakfast. I throw on whatever's clean. I stare into my closet like it's going to offer career advice. You're not just choosing an outfit, you're choosing how to present yourself to the world, even if that world is just your cat and your laptop. Now, fun fact: did you know that in the Middle Ages, people often slept naked and only owned one or two outfits? Changing clothes daily was a luxury. Historians still argue whether peasants even bothered to change unless it was a holiday. Back to now. Let's upgrade your vocabulary. Instead of saying I wear clothes, get specific. I put on a white shirt and dark jeans. I throw on my work uniform. I dress casually unless I have a meeting. Notice the shift from robotic to relatable. Add in adjectives and texture. I wear a cozy sweater when it's chilly. I pick out something light and breathable during hot weather. I avoid tight clothes because comfort is king. And the verbs: use, put on, when you're dressing, take off, when you're undressing, change into, when you're switching clothes, dress up, when you're going fancy, dress down, when you're going casual. So you might say, I change into a polo shirt and khakis before leaving for work. I dress up if I have a presentation, otherwise it's jeans and sneakers. I take off my pajamas and put on workout clothes. And yes, pajamas is one of those rare words in English that can be spelled two ways. Pajamas, US, and pajamas, UK. Same pronunciation. Mild national pride. Now here's a quirky tidbit. In the 1800s, British colonials in India started wearing lightweight sleepwear borrowed from the local traditional pajamas ma. The word made its way back to England and eventually America. Historians still argue whether the British adopted pajamas because they were practical a broken bar or just because they sounded exotic. Let's bring in a few fun phrases people use when talking about clothing in English. I throw something on. Quick, casual dressing. I dress to impress. Fancy or thoughtful dressing. I wear the same outfit on repeat. Minimalist or lazy, you decide. There's also personality. I can't decide what to wear, so I just pick black. It always works. I try on 3 different outfits before giving up and choosing the first one. I always wear lucky socks on Mondays. That last one, gold for storytelling. People love hearing about quirky little rituals. And yes, fashion has always played a role in daily routines, even when it didn't make sense. In 17th century France, aristocrats wore powdered wigs and high heels not for style, but to show off wealth. High heels were originally a men's fashion. Historians still argue whether that was confidence or just a twisted version of fashion pain. Let's go over how you might sequence this in conversation. After I shower, I dry off and pick out clothes for the day. I usually go for something simple, like a t-shirt and jeans. If I'm working from home, it's sweats all day. More variations. I get dressed while listening to music. It helps me wake up. I iron my clothes the night before so I don't panic in the morning. I sometimes regret my outfit by lunchtime, but it's too late to change. And for learners, remember this. You wear clothes. You put on clothes when you're getting dressed. You have on clothes when you're describing them while you're wearing them. Example, I'm wearing a hoodie today. I put on my hoodie before leaving. I have on a hoodie. It's chilly outside. They're all correct. The difference? Subtle. But if you master it, you sound fluent. You can also mention accessories to level up your routine. I put on my watch and grab my bag. I wear glasses, so I clean them every morning. I never leave home without my headphones. Now, let's tie this into emotions. Yes, clothes are emotional. I wear bright colors to feel more awake. I avoid tight clothes when I'm stressed. I wear a hoodie when I need comfort like a fabric hug. And if you want to keep it casual but still sharp, use phrases like, I throw on whatever's clean. I wear the same hoodie 3 days a week and hope no one notices. I pick clothes based on vibes, not logic. So now you're fully dressed, or at least legally acceptable to be seen in public. You've survived another round of closet combat, matched your socks, maybe, and now you're heading into the next part of your routine, the commute. And let's be honest, a broken bar getting there is half the battle. You're dressed, emotionally stable, for now, and just caffeinated enough to walk in a straight line. It's time for the commute, that magical window of the day when you transition from personal chaos to professional chaos. Now, whether your commute involves a 45-minute bus ride, a 10-minute bike sprint, or a dramatic stumble from your bed to your laptop, English has plenty of colorful ways to describe the journey. Let's begin with the basics. These verbs and phrases will come up all the time. I walk to work. I take the subway. I drive to the office. I ride my bike. I catch the bus. Simple enough, but you want to elevate that to something real, something with texture. Try. I walk to the station while listening to podcasts. I bike to work unless it's raining, then it's Uber all the way. I squeeze into the subway like a sardine in business casual. That last one, native level storytelling. It's not just vocabulary, it's vibe. Now for some transit related idioms to spice things up. I'm stuck in traffic hell. I catch the red eye usually refers to late night flights, but it sounds dramatic and cool. I barely make it onto the train. I carpool with coworkers to save money and sanity. Remember, don't just say how you commute, say what it feels like. The train is packed, and I end up standing the whole way. My commute's so short, I barely have time to blink. I ride my bike through the park. It's the best part of my day. Now, fun history bite. The word commute originally referred to commuting a prison sentence or reducing it. Later, it came to mean exchanging something, like payment for transportation, and by the mid-1800s, it described regular travel between home and work. Historians still argue whether that evolution was poetical broken bar or just depressingly accurate. For some, commuting is a peaceful time. For others, it's a stress test trapped in Wi-Fi signals and engine noise. In English, both perspectives are valid and expressible. You can say, I use the time to catch up on emails. I listen to audiobooks on the bus. I sleep through my entire commute and somehow never miss my stop. A surprisingly large percentage of people treat the morning commute like a mobile nap. According to one survey, 32% of subway riders in New York have fallen asleep mid-commute. Historians still argue whether that's a survival mechanism or just plain exhaustion. Let's get more playful. Instead of I take the bus, I drag myself onto the bus and zone out until my stop. I fight for a window seat and lose every time. I spend 40 minutes pretending I'm not annoyed by the guy playing music without headphones. Now if you work from home, you still have a commute. It's just a broken bar shorter. Say, I move from my bed to my desk in 3.2 seconds. My commute is making coffee and sitting on the couch with my laptop. I walk a victory lap around the house before logging in, just to feel something. One of the most flexible phrases you'll want to master is, get to work, head to work, leave for the office. Examples. I usually leave for work around 8 a.m. I get to the office by 9 if traffic isn't horrible. I head to work after dropping off my kids at school. Now here's a quirky historical tidbit. The first public transportation system in the world was the Parisian omnibus, launched in 1828. It was pulled by horses and had no windows, basically a mobile coffin with wheels. Historians still argue whether it was a revolutionary idea or just glorified discomfort. Let's bring in a few native-style expressions to sound more fluent. My commute eats up an hour of my day. I daydream on the train and miss my stop sometimes. I like watching the city wake up as I ride through it. See how they mix activity with feeling? That's what makes your English engaging. A common question learners have: should I say go to work or go for work? Answer: it's go to work. Always. I go to work at 9. I go for work at 9. The phrase go for work might get confused with traveling because of work like a business trip. More natural lines. I leave the house at 8 to go to work. I usually get to work around 8:45. I commute by car, it takes me about half an hour. You can even add weather for realism. I bike to work when it's sunny. I hate commuting in the rain, it ruins my whole mood. And finally, that momento when you arrive. I get to the office and grab a coffee first thing. I settle in and check my emails. I sigh, put my bag down, and brace for the madness. That tiny transition from movement to stillness is part of your story. Don't skip it. In English, the commute is not just about transport. It's the emotional bridge between your personal world and your professional one. And just like that, you've crossed that bridge. You've survived honking cars, weird smells, people who think speakerphone is a public service, a broken bar, and now, you've arrived. The workday begins. You've made it. Somehow, against all odds, alarm clocks, bad hair, breakfast chaos, and traffic, you've arrived at work, or class, or maybe your dining table, now moonlighting as a professional workspace. Either way, it's go time. The start of your workday, like everything else in your routine, has a rhythm, and in English, we're going to learn how to talk about it in a way that sounds smooth, confident, and like you didn't just roll in on autopilot, even if you totally did. Let's start with a few solid phrases. I clock in around 9 a.m. I start work by checking my emails. I log into my computer and open my to-do list. Notice how each of these sets the scene. That's what fluent English is really about, inviting someone into your day. Now, the word clock in comes from the old-fashioned punch clock systems in factories people used to insert a paper time card and stamp the time they started work. These days, We still use the phrase even if we're just clicking a button. Historians still argue whether this evolution represents progress or just more sophisticated ways to track burnout. Speaking of burnout, a broken bar, let's not jump there yet. First, you open your laptop, maybe yawn dramatically, and face the blank stare of your desktop screen. You're in. Here are some everyday phrases to describe those first few minutes. I check my calendar for meetings. I reply to urgent emails. I plan my priorities for the day. Or, if we're being honest, I open my inbox and instantly regret my career choices. I pretend to be productive until my brain catches up. I make coffee number 2 and just a broken bar sit. Adding that emotional layer makes your English memorably and funny. For those who study instead of work, just switch a few words. I go over my notes. I check the syllabus for today's assignments. I log into the class portal and see what fresh chaos awaits. Now, mainstream historical nugget. During the height of industrialization in the 19th century, workers often started their day at 5 or 6 a.m. In brutal conditions, with barely any breaks. Historians still argue whether this was out of necessity or just poor labor rights. Either way, you suddenly feel better about your 9 a.m. Zoom meeting. Let's upgrade your English with action verbs and storytelling tools, instead of I start work. Try I dive into a new project first thing. I scan through yesterday's tasks and pick up where I left off. I ease into the day by doing simple admin stuff first. Now imagine this little narrative. I pour a fresh cup of coffee, sit at my desk, and take a deep breath before opening my inbox. The red notification number looks aggressive via 37 new emails. I scroll, skim, delete the ones clearly written by robots, and mentally prepare for the rest. That's how native speakers describe things. Not just the what but the how and the feeling. Let's add a few common job-related activities. I have a morning stand-up meeting. I review documents from the day before. I work on a team project with tight deadlines. I call clients and set up appointments. And for more creative or digital work, I edit videos and upload content to our platform. I manage our social media channels. I write copy and brainstorm campaign ideas. Remember, your job may be unique, but the language around work has a rhythm that's surprisingly flexible. You just need to adjust the nouns and verbs to your own life. Here's a fun fringe tidbit. Some monks in medieval Europe began their workday at 2 a.m. with chanting and candlelight transcriptions of religious texts. No emails, no Slack notifications, just ink, paper, and maybe the occasional ink spill. Historians still argue whether their routines were peaceful or just extremely caffeinated in disguise. If you're describing your mindset at the start of work, use phrases like, I try to stay focused in the mornings. I take